Hey guys, it's Goosebumps Completionist, and today I'm bringing you a book review from the Choose Your Own Nightmare series. This is the first review I'm ever doing for this series, and it's book number 17, Attack of the Living Mask. I am mind blown with how fun this book was. This book is written by Robert Hirschfeld, and to my knowledge, I've done a lot of research into this person here because I bought this book specifically to read for Halloween time. And for the most part, this author writes like encyclopedia or information type books. But I did stumble across a few books that he's written. This is one of them that's Halloween based. And then he wrote a Spine Tinglers book, which I review on this channel, called Killer Computer. And after reading this, I cannot wait to read Killer Computer because this book is so much fun. It's one of those 88-page choose your own adventure type stories, kind of per order with Choose Your Own Nightmare series. They're about 88 to 90 pages roughly, and they just take you on different scenarios after different scenarios. It's kind of different from Give Yourself Goosebumps. I mean, there is the similarities where there's a diverging moment and there's one choice, and one choice will lead you down one half, and one choice will lead you down the other half. Except in this series, when you have that diverging moment, it takes you down a bunch of different stories, and then a bunch of different stories on the other side as well. And I really enjoyed that. And this book, I'm going to be completely honest. I would, off the bat, say, if you're not at least 10 or 11, do not read this, because this book is gory at times. I mean, straight up gory. Some of the scenes in this book are outright terrifying. And it's just, like I said, it's so much fun. It just goes through so many different avenues of what Halloween can be, Halloween night, what you can do. And I love it. And I think Robert Hirschfeld did a really, really excellent job with this. So, the plot, without giving too much away, centers around you as the main character. And it's Halloween, and you and your friends are out trick-or-treating, and you and your friends are talking, and you realize that you're about to go up to this kid named Jack's house. And Jack was supposed to meet you guys for Halloween to go trick-or-treating, but he never showed up. So you and your friends go up to Jack's house and ask for candy, and Jack's dad gets worried because Jack hasn't come home from school, and none of the kids have seen Jack. So the dad asks you and your friends to go try find Jack. Now this is where it leads you down the choice. Either you can choose to go help some of your friends go to the pond where you think Jack may be, or you can completely ignore trying to go help Jack, let your friends go, and you can go off and do your own thing. And I have to say this right now. If you choose not to go help Jack, this is going to be the best part of this book, because this part is so much fun. Now, there is this girl in this group that you supposedly might have a crush on, or you might have like this schoolboy crush. It's never really elaborated, but you and this girl, if you choose not to go help Jack, find out about this party that you might want to go to because it's Halloween. You're around 12 years old. You know, trick-or-treating is part of the night, and you get to go to a party or something after to, eat your candy or hang out with friends before you go home and eat your candy, that kind of thing. So the first part of this is probably one of the most gruesome parts of this whole book. So you go to this party, and you realize that this party is full of kids that don't go to your school. They go to this private school, as they reveal to you. And they invite you inside of the house. Now, if wise tales ever teach you anything, it's that you don't go into random strangers' houses that you don't know unless you're with people that you know. But even then, if it's just you and one of your friends that's a girl going into a house with a bunch of guys that you don't know, that's a recipe for disaster here, but we'll get into it. So they enter this house, and the hosts announce hey, we got some guests, let's get the meal prepared, because it's a party. So you and your friend are happy because you guys are really hungry. You guys want to eat some real food instead of eating candy. And then plot twist. These students from this private school are actually, man-eating beasts. And you're trapped in this house, and now you have to make the choice to leave your friend behind and escape, or you have to try to fight these beasts and, save her and defeat the beasts. Now, if you choose to fight the beasts, there's a gruesome ending going that path where you literally impale a beast. Okay, I'm not exaggerating this. You literally impale a beast, and you basically murder it to death, and then scare off all the other beasts, and you save the girl, and you agree not to come to random Halloween parties anymore. Now, if you choose to leave her behind and you escape, now it takes you down this path where you find the missing kid, Jack. And once you find Jack, there's a big twist coming with Jack. And this scene is really graphic as well. And let me just say this. It involves you, the main character, getting chomped on in the throat. And it describes that in this book. I mean, this is just something you don't see in Goosebumps at all. And reading something like this, I mean, as an adult, this is pretty good for, kids' horror, I have to say, when it comes to description and, graphicness. That's why I said earlier, if you're not at least 10 or 11, do not read this book. But I had so much fun with that part. But there is, it is a choose your own adventure. So if you go back and retrace and you make a different choice, you end up at this haunted house. Now, this haunted house is, Jack knows this person, I think it's his cousin or something, that just bought this creepy haunted house, supposedly that used to be lived in by this family years ago. And there's said to be 2 ghosts that haunt the house, and the 2 ghosts are teenage boys who axe murdered their parents. So you go in the house, and of course, come to be expected, you, your friend, and Jack, and Jack's cousin, encounter these ghosts. Now, there's one part where it's revealed that these ghosts were, paid by Jack's cousin to scare you, and it was all a big prank. And then the real ghosts come out with the axes, and let's just say, bad ending there. And then the other thing that can happen is that the ghosts are real immediately, and you have to find a way to defeat the ghosts, and that was also really fun as well. So yeah, the haunted house with the ghosts of the axe wielding teenagers, that was really fun. And then of course there's another part here where you go back a little bit and you can make a different choice, and you decide to go to your local school, your public school that you go to, that is having a Halloween dance party there. And when you get there, this weird woman that you've never seen before says, why don't you come down to the basement with me and you can do the haunted house attraction we have. And it's basically like this really creepy set in the basement where you and your friends go in. And once you enter inside, you realize that it's basically a booby trap filled with blood-sucking vampires. And the woman, plot twist, I think is like either a witch or a vampire herself. And these vampires are trying to drink your blood. And basically you have to find a way out. And once you find your way out, there's a fun little twist there as well. And then the other thing that can happen is that you disagree to go into the room, and you encounter vampires chasing you out of the school, and eventually you end up out of the school, and you have to defeat the vampires yourself. Now, if you retrace all the way back, that's basically the plot line if you decide not to go look for Jack. Now, if you decide to go look for Jack and you go to the second half of the book, this one is arguably the weaker one, but it does have its fun moments. Now, if you decide to go down to the pond where Jack supposedly would be, there is a shack at the pond that's said to have a homeless werewolf guy kind of thing living there. And then, it has a creepy cabin in the woods, werewolf in the woods type of story going there. Kind of feels a little generic on that, but it works and it's fun, it's atmospheric, graphic as well. And, it was pretty solid. But my favorite part is this diner arc you can go on. Now, if you make a different choice and you go through the woods and go past the pond and you make your way to the freeway, during this you'll encounter some vampires that are or human bats. Vampires that can transform into bats trying to find you. And you make your way to the freeway and you try to hitch a ride with the trucker, and the trucker ends up being a vampire, and you and your friends get your blood sucked in a circle of vampires. But then, if you make a different choice, you end up at this diner with this really nice old man and old lady who are very hospitable, and they give you some food, and they offer you some hot cider, I think, or like apple pie or something. And you tell them about the vampires after you, and I kid you not, they grab stakes from below the cash register and a chisel or a hammer, and they wait by the door, and one by one start staking vampires in the heart. I mean, that's how wild this book gets, really. And then another thing you can go on in this other arc, or if you go to help Jack arc, is another, running in the woods type of scenario where you're hiding, and you walk up like a ravine or such, and you encounter like a horde of werewolves or something. I think that's what it is, and that was also pretty fun. So yeah, all in all, Attack of the Living Mask, for what it is, an 88-page choose-your-own-adventure story, this is so much fun. It literally touches on anything Halloween you can do. You can go into the woods. You can go, get something to eat in the middle of nowhere because you wandered too far away from your neighborhood. You can crash a party from people you've never even met before, or you can go to a haunted house, or go to your school and do the haunted house attraction, or dance at the dance floor at the school, or just go trick or treating. I mean, this story literally covers everything, and some of the stuff in this book was so much fun to read, especially in kids horror. I cannot recommend this enough. If you don't like how I don't know how PG Goosebumps can feel. I know Goosebumps can push the envelope, but this thing here pushes it. And I'm not exaggerating. It will push you a little bit. And I think most people would get a lot of enjoyment out of it just simply because of its shock value it offers in its scenes. And it's so much fun, and the payoff here. As you can see, there's a scene with this mask boy that's also involved in the arc. If you choose not to help Jack and you end up at the school, your friend who's wearing a mask has this boy that falls smitten with her, and he reveals his true self, and that's how you get the cover here, which is also a pretty graphic scene as well. I mean, just a lot of fun to be had. Cool little fact, the font on this book, if you have watched the Goosebumps TV show, and the credits of each episode, when it starts, it'll say Welcome to Dead House or The Haunted Mask. It's this font. And I don't know how they did that, but it's the exact same thing. It looks so cool. I don't know who did the art on this, but it is a pretty good, it's a pretty good cover. It gets you intrigued. You see this monster with this boy's face coming off, and there's trick-or-treaters in the background. Really solid cover. And honestly, really fun choose-your-own-adventure book. And that's all I can ask for with a choose-your-own-adventure. I don't want it to be repetitive, but I want it to be fun. And this book literally took you to all avenues Halloween can basically offer. And Yeah, I love this. This is one of my favorite kids' horror books I think I've ever read. I mean, just on the merit of how well it pushed the envelope and how well it was portraying horror. I mean, this was a genuinely scary book, and it was fun. Like, it was like one of those things where I was genuinely scared of it. You know, being an adult, I'm like, this would actually scare me. You know, in an adult novel. And then it's also fun because just on the sheer ludicrousy going on in the book, but it's not like bad, like it's outlandish. It's just fun in the Halloween sense, if you get what I'm saying. So from a 0 to 5 stars, I'm going to give this book a 5 out of 5. This was solid. Robert Hirschfeld, I know you've only written 2 kids' horror books. Like I said, I cannot wait to read Killer Computer from Spine Tinglers, but man, I wish she wrote some more because this was great. This was excellent. I kind of want to do a deep dive to see if I can find anything else by this author because this was awesome. I love this. On its relatability to Goosebumps, though, being honest, it's a bit edgy to be close to Goosebumps. Goosebumps is, like I said, it's more PG. Normally, it does push the envelopes here and there, but for the run-of-the-mill Goosebumps, like comparing it, I'd probably give this maybe a 3.5 out of 5 for relatability to Goosebumps, just because of how gory this book is and how just different it is inherently. But I still recommend it if you are a fan of Goosebumps. Don't take that comment to deter you from wanting to read this, because this is really good. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Attack of the Living Mask. Let me know in the comment section if you have read this book. Did you love this or did you hate this? I'm dying to know, and I'll see you next time.